Hey, I'm Roy Underhill, and I'm not a craftsman, but I play one on TV. And I've been looking high and low trying to find somebody who's done more for Centerville, Washington, and all of Dayton than Brady Kress. There's nobody. So I'm happy to join you all on Founders Day to congratulate and thank Brady for all of his great work. Thanks, Brady, and may the grain be with you always.
Centerville Washington Foundation is pleased to recognize Brady Kress as its 2023 Founders Honoree. A hometown storyteller, Kress got his start at Centerville Washington Township, graduating from Centerville High School and Wright State University. His impact on the community is still evident from the time he spent earning his Eagle Scout rank to his active participation in the community's bicentennial celebration. He is, in fact, a fifth-generation Daytonian, learning woodworking skills using the same tools as his grandfather did.
I've known Brady for 20-plus years. There's a long history and relationship between the Dayton Foundation and Carillon Park. So when Mary Matthews, longtime director here at the park that just did a phenomenal job, when she retired and it was time to figure out who would follow in those big shoes, there was a search process. And obviously Brady came out of that process, but was a candidate and really got to first meet and begin to understand the creativity and the big picture thinking of Brady 20-some years ago.
15 years ago, I was the chairman of the board of Carillon Park, before it was Dayton history. And Mary Matthews, who was the executive director at that time, was leaving, announced her retirement, and so I formed a search committee to find a new executive director. And Brady applied for the job. And the most memorable thing was not only our interview with him, but one of the members on the committee was Chuck Obramovitz, who's no longer with us, unfortunately. Chuck was probably in his 80s then. And after we had personally interviewed, I believe it was 4 candidates in one day, after narrowing it down, we started talking about the 4 candidates. And we talked a little, and someone finally said, you know, I really like that Brady Kress guy, but my God, he's so young. And Chuck Obramovitz, in his 80s or 90s, said, well, that's why you better hire him. So that's my first memory of Brady.
You know, I feel like I've always known Brady in some capacity. I think we met through the Dayton Rotary, but we have been a part of an executive dialogue group through the Dayton Chamber for the past at least 15 years.
Today, Brady Kress is the president and CEO of Dayton History. Under his leadership, Carillon Historical Park has become one of the premier cultural destinations in the region. Brady Kress continues to encourage people to share their stories and enthusiasm about the region and embodies the phrase, "You can't go a day without Dayton."
You know, Brady's a unbelievably creative, visionary person, and he can picture and see what stories, what resonates with the residents of Dayton. And he's got just an uncanny knack of figuring that out and saying, now how do we mobilize? How do we rally around telling those stories? So when you think about what's happened with the park over the last 20 or 30 years, you know, Mary Matthews was unbelievable, took it to a whole new level. And in comes this Brady who started here, this young guy who started here at the park as a teenager, and he's taken it to even a higher level than Mary did. And it's this vision, this ability to rally people around the stories that resonate to us as Daytonians.
His first impact, of course, is on this beautiful museum, Carillon Park. And also, one of the first things that was done under Brady's leadership was the merging of the Montgomery County Historical Society and Carillon Park, which gives us today what is Dayton history. And his impact is amazing what it was on the park. You build it and they will come. I mean, 800 people showed up yesterday for the unveiling of the locomotive. Amazing. He built it and they came.
Kress is known for his commitment to preserving and sharing the rich history of Dayton and the Miami Valley region. He has overseen the development of numerous exhibits and educational programs at Carillon Historical Park, including the Wright Brothers Aviation Center, which houses the world's largest collection of Wright Brothers memorabilia.
First of all, he's extremely creative. And as most creative people, he tends to be a little disorganized. If you haven't been in his office and tried to find his desk under all the papers, you won't know what I'm talking about. But go take a look. But he's amazingly creative, and he's got a great way with people. And he has done a fabulous job of embracing the community and finding ways and resources to do what he's been able to do since he's been here.
There's a unique thing about Brady in that he is the only person I have ever met, to my knowledge, to have built his own coffin. He's going to be buried in the coffin. It is his coffin. He has built his own coffin in which to be buried. So I find that very, on some levels, disturbing. Another level, very prepared. I like being prepared for things, so I appreciate that.
Brady's got an uncanny knack. When you look at the whole sphere, the whole realm, the whole range of history, what's important and why? What resonates? Why are certain stories important and others aren't? He's got this unbelievable ability to zero in and say, these stories matter, and these stories will resonate. And then he rallies individuals in our community, donors that also care about those stories. And what ends up is what we have today in Dayton history at Carillon Park. Just an unbelievable place to tell the stories of why Dayton's history matters to the world. And you come to the park, you leave feeling better about yourself, you leave feeling better about your community, and you're proud to call Dayton your home.
Thank you, Brady, for the dedication, effort, and vision you've brought to Dayton, Centerville, and Washington Township.